I got three things that I think you should know about on this day. First, Australia has told Iran's ambassador to get out. Is it justified? I'm going to tell you. You know the expression, hit them when they're down? Well, Macron is down. I mean, he's way down. And Italy's hitting him. No, mocking him. And they're doing it publicly. And Hungary is not playing. It is suing the EU for giving money to Ukraine that Ukraine is now using to bomb the pipeline they use for their people. That's Viktor Orban's latest move, and he is serious about this. We're going to give all this the Sanchez effect. Let's do it. Hello again, everybody. I'm Rick Sanchez. Australia is the place where we're going to start today. But it's Israel's actions that have everything to do with why Australia is in the news. Safe to say that billions of people all over the world are really angry. And they should be, right? They're angry at Israel for what Israel is doing. You've seen the videos, for example, some of the videos that we've shown you right here. This is an example of it. Here's a cruise ship. It arrives at a Greek port, and a lot of people find out that Israelis are on this ship. So as they try to disembark, the Greek citizens are blocking them because they're so angry at what their country is doing to the Palestinians. So yes, people are angry at Israelis all over the world, you know? And sometimes they act irresponsibly because of that anger, right? Let me give you an example. In Australia, some people caused a fire in a synagogue. Obviously, that's wrong, right? Very wrong. Nobody has the right to go after somebody because of their religion, Jew or otherwise. Besides, there's a lot of Jews who are against what Israel is doing as well. So how do you know the people in there are against Israel? But anyway, so this is the scene. It's in Melbourne, Australia. Two men have been arrested for what sounds like a crime, which is both stupid and hateful. So they break the window of this synagogue, and then they pour some type of liquid, and then they start a fire. They throw a match, right? So the guys are arrested, and they seem guilty as hell. But there's nothing in the case that connects them to any kind of organized crime organization or any terrorist groups. It just looks like a couple of guys, you know, who are angry and they're hateful idiots, right? Yet, despite that, Australia's prime minister is saying, no. Yep, no, they're tied to Iran. What's his evidence? I don't think he has any, because he wouldn't say. He only said that they have credible evidence, and that it involves some type of complicated network of terror cells. I guess too complicated to release to the media. And by the way, do you really need to be a part of a terror cell to break a window and throw a match through it? You know, it doesn't seem like it to me anyway, but Australia is now going so far as to kick the Iranian ambassador out of their country. And here's the reaction from Iran's foreign minister. His name is Syed Arakchi. He says, look, Iran is home to among the world's oldest Jewish communities, including dozens of synagogues. Accusing Iran, he says, of attacking such sites in Australia while we do our utmost to protect those people or them in our own country makes zero sense. Here's something else that you should probably know about. Bibi Netanyahu has been attacking Australia recently for not doing enough to combat the anti-Israel fervor that exists, he says, in Australia. He's been pressuring Australia's PM, this guy, to do something to prove that he is really pro-Israel. Apparently it worked. So let's talk now about what's going on in France. This is another squabble, two countries again squabbling, and it's caused France to actually summon its ambassador out of Italy. Remember a couple days ago when I was here and I was having a conversation with Pepe Escobar? Fun conversation, by the way. He's a smart guy. He happens to be in Normandy, France, which is one of the reasons we were talking to him. So you remember when I asked him, Pepe, what's the feeling in France right now, right? What's the average man on the street saying about the Macron government? And he said this.
In a few days here in Paris, on September 10th, they are planning a huge demonstration, which is basically against everything. The political system, Macron, you name it, everything. They are fed up. And so this is I heard this from expats living all across Asia, just to give an idea of the reach, uh, how people are absolutely pissed with everything all across.
Sounds bad. Well, it looks like Pepe hit it right on the head with his description, because Macron, whose approval rating is now at 29%, is getting heat from both inside his country and outside of his country. Italy's deputy prime minister says 80% of France's population can't stand Macron and can't wait for him to get out. Matteo Salvini, he's the Italian guy, he says Macron's warlike rhetoric, including talk of sending troops to Ukraine, he says he's only doing that to boost his dwindling popularity at home. Here's more.
Macron insists on sending European soldiers to Ukraine. What do you think about that?
In Milan, they'd say, take the tram. As in, go ahead and go yourself if you want. Put on your helmet, your vest, grab a rifle, and head to Ukraine.
By the way, Salvini goes on to mock Macron even more, saying that if he did that, if he put on his, that's a hell of a picture, if he put on his helmet and went to Ukraine to fight, nobody in France would follow him, not even his wife. That's another story, but it's complicated. All right, so let's continue this enthymime, right? So France is angry with Italy. Australia is angry and blaming everything on Iran. So who's Ukraine angry with these days? That's Masha and the bear. The Ukrainian government is going after Masha and the bear. Why, I oughta. You mean a cartoon? Yeah, I mean a cartoon. That's right. The show is completely apolitical, by the way, and parents love it because their kids learn from it. In fact, the show is now among one of the top 10 most watched programs in the entire world. So Masha is this cute little girl who lives with an old bear who was retired from the zoo. Seems innocent enough, right? No, not for the Zelensky government. You see, as it turns out, one of the countries in the world where little Masha is most beloved is Ukraine. According to published data, 53 million subscribers watch Masha and the Bear worldwide every day on Telegram. 18 million of them are Ukrainians. Yes, in case you didn't know, Ukrainians watch Russian television because a lot of Ukrainians consider themselves Russian. A lot of Ukrainians speak Russian. A lot of Ukrainians attend Russian churches. A lot of Ukrainians identify culturally and historically as Russian. And that's exactly what the Zelensky government is angry about. And they're trying to make it illegal. They want their people to stop worshiping in Russian, to stop speaking Russian, to not read or watch any material in Russian. Most of all, I guess, what they want to stop is that dangerous propaganda duo of Masha and the Bear. Here's the warning put out to Ukrainians, by the way. This is it's kind of tied to the government. It's called the Truka Telegram channel.
Cringe of the Day. The YouTube channel of the Russian cartoon Masha and the Bear is the most popular among all children's channels in Ukraine. Do you show Russian content to your children? Is it okay for you?
Is it okay for you? To which most parents must be saying, yeah, why not? Meanwhile, as if going after what people watch in the privacy of their own homes, arresting opposition leaders and journalists is not enough, Ukraine is really pissing off its neighbor, Viktor Orban, and he's not having it. I mean, this guy says, I'm up to here with this crap, right? Orban is incensed that Zelensky has bombed and shut down the pipeline that provides his people with fuel. And he's not letting up. Just today, Orban announced his government is suing the EU for handing over, get this, handing over billions of dollars in aid taken from frozen Russian bank assets and then given to Ukraine. Think about it. This is kind of the argument that he's making. What he's saying is the EU takes Russia's central bank assets, they freeze them, and then they collect the interest. It's a lot of money. Then they give that interest to Ukraine, $3 to $5 billion a year, and then Ukraine uses it to blow up the pipeline that Hungary uses to be able to provide fuel to its people? See, Hungary's a part of the EU. So what he's saying is, I'm paying into the EU so it can give money to Ukraine so Ukraine can blow up the pipelines? Come on. Is he right? What do you think? Did you know, by the way, that in terms of nuclear warheads, just by sheer numbers alone, Russia is the most powerful country on the planet, along with the United States. Here's the breakdown. According to the Stockholm Institute, they're the ones who measure this kind of stuff. Russia has about 4,300 warheads. The U.S. has 3,700 warheads. China has 600. And then comes France. They got about 290. The Brits have 225 nuclear warheads. India has 180. Pakistan has 170. And then Israel, they don't have any. Right. So this is interesting because here's what's happening now. With the Shanghai summit coming up, where Mr. Xi is going to be front and center with the president of India and the president of Russia, among others, Xi is likely and doesn't want to be distracted. Nor does he want attention diverted from this occasion where his country is going to be celebrating its victory over Japan. But President Trump wants Xi to talk denuclearization. Xi is saying no. And he seems to have three basic reasons for it. One, he doesn't want the distraction. That makes sense. Two, he doesn't have enough nukes to cut back. At least, he's saying, look, compared to Russia and to the U.S., I don't have enough to give up. So don't talk to me about cutting back on nukes. Three, he doesn't seem to trust the U.S. to negotiate in good faith anyway. I wonder why. There's a lot to unpack today. But don't worry, after a quick break, we're going to be right back here in the studio, and I'm going to be joined by Xavier Moreau. He's the founder and the director of the Stratpol Center for Political Strategic Analysis. Sounds complicated, but it's not. He's actually a really good, smart guy who's going to take us through a lot of this stuff, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We'll be right back. Xavier Moreau is the founder and the director of the Stratpol Center for Political Strategic Analysis, which makes him a really smart guy because that's a cool and complicated name for a company, so for an organization. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
So good to see you. You look fantastic.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and you have a little bit of that French accent, which everybody kind of loves.
I'm afraid by my English, but...
Your English is beautiful. Your English is beautiful, and I'm so happy that you're here because there's so much to talk about, and I guess I would be remiss if I didn't start with your former country, France.
Not former.
You still consider yourself a Frenchman. Yeah. Good. Your president seems to be having a lot of trouble these days. Between his wife, the media all over the world, his numbers are down to 29%. And now the latest, I don't know if you heard me in my intro, but he's getting attacked by Italy.
Yeah, no, actually, everything can be explained by the domestic policy of Emmanuel Macron, because, as you said, he's in big troubles. Mm-hmm. Economical problems, security problem, and on the 8th of September, there will be a vote of confidence. And actually, nobody supports this vote of confidence. So Macron maybe will have to change again of prime minister. So everything is going bad.
Wait, take me through that, because I don't understand the parliamentary system, being American, of course. What happens with this vote of confidence? They ask the people what?
To support the policy of the prime minister.
Yeah, his party.
And the ultra-left with Mélenchon, the ultra-right with Marine Le Pen, decided not to support the policy. So
what happens? Let's suppose he comes in at 5% support, 95% against him.
Everything is possible. Maybe he will have to organize a new parliamentary election. So at this time there will be no majority. So it will be a very political catastrophe, and it would be worse that it will an economical collapse. Because till now, all the rating agencies like Standard & Poor's, like Fitch,
Right.
and Moody's, they try not to downgrade the rate of the French economy. The problem is everybody knows that we don't deserve our double A. So if we lose our double A, we will have to sell our obligation at 5.5%,
Wow.
like England, and it will be a complete economic collapse.
Sounds like Japan in the 80s or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like England in the 70s.
Yeah.
So even now you have this ministry of the former prime minister, which is she's a woman. She's now minister of education. She said yesterday or 2 days ago, she said that maybe the IMF will have to take control of.
So it's that
economic.
bad for Macron.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
that's interesting. Nobody's ever explained it to me the way you have. I'm so happy you're explaining this for our viewers so they can understand. So first, a vote of no confidence. And if that vote of no confidence comes back very negatively for him, then he has to have elections to try and stay in office.
Maybe have elections. Maybe you have to find another prime minister, but nobody will support him as well. So
it's really that bad.
Yeah, it's really that bad. And again, the worst consequences will be economic consequences, because if we lose our double A, it's the end. Believe me, it's the end. We will talk about that.
You're talking about Moody's,
Standard & Poor's.
The way that they.
Yeah. You know, if you look at how they rate the last months, one said, okay, we are not going to rate France. Because we don't want to repeat what happened with Lehman Brothers. You know, Lehman Brothers was AAA 48 hours before falling. So the idea now for this rating agency is not to give a note to the French economics, because if the French economic collapse, it will be a complete collapse of the Eurozone. So that's what's the kind of weight with on the Macron's shoulder.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I'm so glad you're explaining this to us. So, what's Marie Le Pen's position in all of this? How does she stand with the French people? And let me just add something to that. I'm an American. So the media that I digest in the United States is Marie Le Pen is crazy. She's right wing. She's like Hitler. She hates everybody, etc. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but actually not that much.
Not that much. You can hear the same in the leftist French media. So no, she's not.
Tell me how that's right or wrong.
If you look at the program, the political and economical program of Marine Le Pen, it's almost exactly the same as François Mitterrand in 1981.
Interesting.
So it's center left. Quite socialist oriented, and she's even not for remigration of the current migrants. She's okay for having some migrants. She gave everything the system wanted from her. So she's not dangerous anymore, and she's a perfect opponent for instance, for Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron came, maybe you don't know, in 2017. He came through a coup d'état. Mediatic and juridical coup d'état, a legal coup d'état, because the real opponent was François Fillon. So they organized him to a big scandal just before the election. And so Emmanuel Macron got what he wanted, to have Marine Le Pen in front of him. And he repeated this operation during the last election in 2022 using the war in Ukraine. And he wanted to, and a success to do it, to present as the chief of war, the commander-in-chief of the French army. And he tried, what do we observe? No, he tried to repeat that. That's the reason why he's already talking about sending soldiers, sending weapons, sending planes. And even if I'm a former French officer, and those who are used to study in the military academy, they are generals. And I have some contact with my former friend. That we can even send 5,000 soldiers. Yeah. It's not possible. But we have no weapons, we have no soldiers, we have no ammunition. Everybody perfectly knows that, and I guess Emmanuel Macron knows that. Or maybe he lives in a parallel world with his courtesans. Yeah. But I think he knows that. He just tries to renew what he succeeds to do in 2022, when you have the commander-in-chief of the French army, we will fight against Putin.
What do the French people think of that? Because I remember, and again, I'll make an American comparison. It's like you talk about France, I talk about America. But I'm finding that there's some similarities. When our people were being pushed to buy some bullcrap story about how the Iraqis were going into Kuwait, taking babies out of incubators and then smashing their heads, and we all went, "Oh my God, these are horrible people. We have to go in there."
Weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction. and America kind of got behind it, and then we found out it was all bullcrap. We were lied to. Have the French people yet kind of diagnosed this whole Ukraine thing as being kind of maybe possibly bullcrap also?
Honestly, I think that most of the French people, they don't care about Ukraine because we have so many domestic problems that they just want to fight to feed their children. Yeah. And we have a big problem with domestic security. So that's a big problem for French people. And concerning Ukraine, the problem is all the medias are for Zelensky, for Kiev. Zelensky is a hero. Putin is like Hitler. And so,
that's crazy.
The atmosphere is pro-Kiev. But what's interesting that people who are very interesting to know what happened in Ukraine, they are pro-Russian. And I know because it's my public to be frank.
Yeah, but by the way, you're Putin's propagandist.
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah. I'm proud of it. I'm even the number one.
I should share with.
I mean, in France.
I should share with my audience why I'm saying that. I'm laughing because we all get called that. All you've done is you've taken many of Putin's speeches and you've published them so people can hear what he has to say. And they're saying that you shouldn't do that. I mean, you're doing a service to people. By the way, you can hate Putin, you can like Putin, you can not care about Putin, but all you're doing is this is what the man says. Because in the West, they're not even allowed to hear him.
If you listen to what Putin said since his first interview was in 1991. It was still the Soviet Union. It just came to St. Petersburg. It was still Leningrad. In St. Petersburg, as a member of the local government with the mayor Sobchak, and he gave his first interview. It was still the Soviet Union. In his first interview, he said, "Soviet Union, the Bolshevik placed a bomb under the state, the Russian state, the Unitarian Russian state." And the second thing is, why they suppress the market?
Why suppress the market?
Why suppress the market? So actually, Putin was, during the Soviet Union, he developed his own contrarian, you can say.
Market thinking.
Contrarian thinking, politically thinking.
Oh, contrarian.
Contrarian.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
During the Soviet Union, it was not so easy to do it. And the good thing with Putin, if you follow what he said during the last 30 years, he just explained what he's going to do. When during his speech in Munich in 2007, he explained you have to stop expanding NATO. Yeah. You have to stop organize a color revolution in Georgia, in Ukraine, because if you don't stop, we will react.
See, but you're right, and I'm glad you said that. React to what the man says. Yeah. Look at his words, look at his statements, criticize it, fine, find fault with it, and then say, well, I disagree where he said this. I would be fine with that. I have no problems with people criticizing Trump or Putin or Xi or Modi or anybody, Macron or anybody. The problem is when it comes to people like Xi and Putin and a few others, they don't attempt to do a critical analysis. They just destroy with labels. And that's just,
they even know listening to him.
Right.
For instance, this speech in Munich in 2007, it's 1 year before the operation in Georgia. Mm-hmm. And we know that Dick Cheney gave the green light to Saakashvili to start his ethnic cleansing operation in South Ossetia.
Right.
And what did Russia? Russia intervened. Putin told them a year ago, stop doing that. Mm-hmm. So Georgia was a bad experience for the US, for NATO, and so you can think that it's over, they won't repeat it, but they repeated it. They did Maidan. With Maidan, they lost Crimea. They didn't implement the Minsk agreement. Because of that, they lost Donbass. they didn't allow Zelensky to sign the agreement in April 2022. So they lost Kherson in Zaporozhye.
Yeah.
If they don't sign now what Putin asked them to sign,
Goodbye,
they
Odessa.
will. Exactly. But
Yeah.
I think Trump understood that. Because if you,
I do too.
did you see the card he showed during the meeting? He showed the potential
map.
region, but in Odessa nothing was. So I think Trump understand, and that the most important place in Ukraine now it's Odessa. And was very interesting. You have a statement it was in the Telegraph, an English journalist. It was the title: Ukraine can live without Donbass, but not without Odessa. Odessa is the best port with Sebastopol, but it's already lost in Black Sea. Odessa is important.
Beautiful city.
It's a corridor for all the East Europe, especially for Poland, for instance. So if
what you're saying is he's going to force the Russians to take it.
Yeah.
They're going to end up taking more than they want.
If they are not agreeing now with what Putin is proposing, which is quite fair, they will lose everything.
Right.
But Trump understood that. But
he's actually saying he wants Crimea back, Zelensky. I mean, it's kind of an irrational argument. Speaking of Zelensky, I got to ask you about what you think of Orban. Big story in the news in the last 48 hours, as you know, where Zelensky has taken it upon himself to blow up the Pruzda pipeline that goes from Russia to Hungary all the way to Croatia, etc. And he blew it up, and Orban is really angry about this. And today, he said he's going to sue the EU because of it.
Actually, today, the European Commission said that the Ukrainian army has to stop shelling the pipe. And it's a big mistake from Zelensky, and it shows that he doesn't know what to do. Because actually, he gets the oil, the Russian oil going through the pipe, is used in the Hungarian and Slovakian refinery to make diesel.
Right.
And this diesel is sent to Ukraine.
Oh, really?
So he destroyed
his own diesel.
And it's exactly the same.
I didn't know. So wait,
Yeah.
It goes from Russia through that pipeline. It gets to Slovakia and Hungary. They essentially put it through the process of turning it into diesel, and they send it to Ukraine. So
it's the same with the Indian diesel.
Wow.
India, in July, is now the first exporters of diesel for Ukraine. And at the same time, Zelensky asked Trump to put secondary sanctions against India because they buy Russian oil. Exactly the same happened in January 2005. He decided to shut the pipe for the Russian gas through Ukraine. So thanks to that, Russia said, okay, we don't need anymore the gas infrastructure in Ukraine. They destroy everything. They use the pipe during the offensive to free the Kursk region. Remember that. And at least what happened now, Kiev is buying Russian gas through Slovakia, through Turkish Stream. And so till January 2025, Ukraine get money for the transit of the gas. So there no more money for transit from the Russian gas. And now they pay the gas with a transit from Turkish Stream through Slovakia, through Ukraine.
So, well, the way you just described it, it sounds like either A, he's stupid and just does not understand that he's hurting himself and his own people, or B, he's spiteful. And it doesn't matter. He just wants to destroy anything that has an R in front of it.
I was listening to you. You were talking about Netanyahu. There is a common point between Netanyahu and Zelensky. If there is a truce or an agreement, there will be elections. There will be a court. Zelensky will have to flee or he will finish in jail.
So will Netanyahu.
He doesn't want neither truce, neither peace process. It's
because what you're saying is, if they come up with a peace process, then he will have to have elections. And you don't think he could win?
Impossible.
That's
the reason why the English government is preparing Zaluzhny, which is now Ukrainian ambassador in London.
Yeah.
They want, in my opinion, they want to make Zelensky sign, and as soon as he sign, is in danger. Politically, is dead, and physically, is in danger. There is a statement in the Times. It was 3 days ago, and one of the Banderist leader said if Zelensky agreed with Putin's claims, he will be dead politically and even physically.
Yeah.
So,
Well, a lot of people say that from the very beginning, Zelensky would have been a different person if the corrupt oligarchs and the nationalists hadn't literally gotten in his head and said, if you make peace with Russia, we're going to literally kill you.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've seen reports about this and talked to people who've told me there's no question that those people are the people who are running the government in Ukraine. Is that true?
I think it's true. I think it's true. The problem for Ukraine, who financed Maidan? We know there is a
Right.
US aid. Even Victoria Nuland said that openly, but the oligarch financed as well. For instance, Akhmetov, which is used to be the richest oligarch, was controlling Mariupol. And he paid the Banderist battalion, the nationalist battalion, to keep the city in his hands. Maidan is a golden age for oligarch. Kolomoisky started to be governor.
In 2014.
In 2014, governor in Dnipropetrovsk. All these oligarchs, they got the power through Maidan. It was not a fight against corruption. It was, on the contrary, an organization of the corruption. And they had the Democrat Party in the US use Ukraine for cleaning the money, for getting money. And weeks after Maidan, the son of Joe Biden, he was at this time a vice president, Hunter Biden, joined Burisma company. We had a big problem with the English court. And after that, all the problem was solved. The English court freed, I don't know, it was $30 million were blocked. And Joe Biden came in 2016 or 15, I don't remember, to get the prosecutor, the general prosecutor, Shokin, fired from his post. Because Shokin started to investigate in the Burisma company. So actually, Maidan didn't solve the there was a really big problem of corruption in Ukraine. On the contrary, Maidan internationalized this corruption.
Yeah.
If you look at what happened with the NABU, not some weeks ago, with the demonstration. Actually, NABU was created by the Democrat Party for Ukraine.
They made it global, is what they did.
Yeah.
They made
it global. That's right.
They globalized the corruption that was taking place in Ukraine. One of the things that I'm bothered by, though, is, I mean, these European countries, this guy Starmer and Merz and Delayan and from the EU and Macron and these guys. What you just said a little while ago, Russia is obviously winning this war. And if there's no peace deal, they've got nothing else to do, but they have to keep going because you're in a war. The other side is not stopping. It's like if you and I are playing tennis and I'm winning by, I don't know how many sets, or you're probably beating me. You look like you're a better tennis player than me. But after a while, I could either say, okay, let's just stop, and I concede, you won. It's over. Or, no, I'm going to stay here till midnight and keep playing. I mean, if you keep playing, you're going to keep beating me.
It's a magical thinking. I can't compare. I'm not comparing national socialism of Hitler with what happens now in the okay. But the behavior when you lose the war, and so you start to hope and to believe that some miracle will happen.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Europeans.
It's the same. It's the same.
Why would they do that?
Because why Napoleon III lost the power? Because he lost the war. Why the Wilhelm II lost the power in 1918? Because he lost the war. And Nicolas II was about to lose the war, so he lost the power. It's always the same. So the European Union was so implicated in this war, supporting Ukraine, so that the Ukraine defeat will be the European Union defeat. And
Ukraine loses, they lose.
Yeah.
You really think so?
I think so.
You think if tomorrow Ukraine, like if these guys when they were talking to Trump last week, and I was watching them, and they were kind of agreeing with Trump, but then as soon as the meeting was over, they went back to their little hideouts and they started saying, no, I'm sorry, but I don't think we can agree with that. And then they started creating all these conditions, like they're going to have peacekeepers there, and it's like, Why would Russia agree to have French people, German people, and British people who are the reason the war started in the first place going back into the country to do exactly what Putin said he didn't want?
Can you imagine? They ask for a truce, an immediate truce without any.
No conditions.
And they promise we are going to build a very strong Ukrainian army to hold against Russia. So
That's exactly.
they don't know what they say because they are in panic.
But you're absolutely right. Your point is such a good one. I mean, think about what you're saying. Russia is destroying the Ukrainian military right now. That's just it is. And I feel bad for Ukraine, and I feel bad for the Ukrainian people. And I even feel bad for those soldiers because they're just defending their country.
They're the same.
But they're being destroyed, no question about it. And yet, as this continues, we have the Europeans sitting there looking at this and saying, no, we want this to continue no matter what. It just doesn't make any damn sense.
And Rheinmetall promised to build a plant in Ukraine producing ammunitions. So you have to choose.
So yes, the very thing that Mr. Putin and the Russians said was the reason they went into Ukraine, because there was military hardware, militarization, control by the Europeans, and they needed that to stop.
Yeah,
now the Europeans are saying we'll stop the war if we can do all that again.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're losing.
I would like to. Yeah, they're losing. And actually, I would like to underline the fact that they were killing Russian people in Ukraine. I started traveling in Donbass since 2015.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I saw the school, I saw the hospital. They were not at all a target, military target. They were shelled. And just look at the report of the OSCE, the organization we are supposed to control the Minsk agreement. And on the 15th of February 2022, Ukrainian army started to shell, to prepare its offensive, shelling all the front line. So the Russians, they come to avoid the ethnic cleansing of the Russian living in Donbass, because in Donbass this is Russian living. It's the same in Odessa. It's the same. It's a Russian city. It's Russian territory. Okay, Lvov. Rovno.
They watch Masha and the Bear.
Yeah. You're perfectly right.
It's like, and if they want to be Russian or whatever. And the Russians were perfectly fine with that being a neutral country and having Russian people living there. It's when the West came in and said, no, it can't be a neutral country. It has to be an anti-Russia country. Exactly. And that's when the Russians went in, by the way. I'm still curious, though, about Europe, because you're a European, and I want to better understand that. And I want to understand why the people of Europe, I mean, the British are brilliant, smart people. The French are, my God, their experiences, their history, they're smart people, they're logical. I would say the same thing about the Germans. Why are they sitting there watching these doofuses make decisions that are destroying their countries? Inflation is high, wages are low, taxes are high. Why do they just take it?
First, I think that the French leaders are not so clever. We used to have a very clever elite in France. De Gaulle. It's no more the case. If you look at the last, for instance, Minister of Foreign Affairs, State Secretary, it's very poor, intellectually poor people, not competent, no experience, fanatics. And so when I look at, I used to work on the archives of the in foreign affairs for my doctorate and in the Russian archives. When I look at the analytics, I look at the message we were sent by the Soviet Union diplomacy. Yeah. You understand that people are competent. People are well educated.
So
over
let's
now.
Go through Mitterrand, Sarkozy.
Mitterrand was old school. It was okay, but he was on the wrong way. But he was old school. He was still from a generation with clever people, well-educated people.
What about Sarkozy?
Sarkozy, it started to be poor, but he has a good instinct. For instance, with Russia, he made a very good job.
So how does Macron compare to those two, for example?
The worst. Hollande was very bad, and Macron is at the same level.
Is he just not smart? Was he just put there? I've read, and just watching Candace Owens' report, whether you believe the stuff about the wife or not, the sense I get is that he was chosen by very powerful people, placed there because he looked like a model and he was pretty.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. And if you look at the European elites, it's always the same. Beautiful guy or woman, Sandra Marian, for instance. Yeah, she's very, very beautiful. Usually speaking good English.
Yeah.
Better than mine. And totally suborned to the globalists, to the global elite.
Exactly.
So, and of course, I think you underline something very important, in my opinion. And when I listen to the Russian expert, where they are very interesting in what happened with Brigitte Macron, it's the way Macron was chosen. They don't care if Brigitte is Jean-Michel or not. The most important in who is in charge.
Huh.
Who
they don't care.
Decided, that, for instance, the Russians, they want to understand that. They don't care about Brigitte Macron. They want to understand how is it possible that a guy, nobody knew him.